Hi guys, welcome back to the Daily Dreamer. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me today to share a dream or two. I'm just going to go ahead and jump into this one because this was an interesting one. All right, so I wake up, I come to, and I am standing in front of a board of entities. They are sitting in the background except for one. One is in the forefront. He is very tall, very tall. He is wearing a white robe, huge head. But very nice. The smile is very warm and very comforting. Anyways, I am being told that I have to give a presentation of convincing why, this one item has to go with me. For some reason, I look over and I see this miniature tree that is cellophane, wrapped in cellophane, as though it was prepared for its first frost, if you will. So, for some reason, I guess I wanted this tree to come with me, and they were trying to tell me, no, it's not going. There's no use for it. It has to go. And I was trying to plead with them as to why it needed to stay. They said, give us a reason why, and you can have it. Well, I was trying to find a reason why. Well, I happened to notice behind me, I've got like a crew of people, entities, all kinds of things, animals. And we're all standing there. They were just standing behind me. And so I looked to them and I conveyed to them, guys, help me out here. I got to give them a reason. Well, people were talking. They were amongst themselves and they were agreeing and then not agreeing. They were trying to come up with a reason. All of this, chitter chatter going on. Okay. Well, then finally they asked me for a reason. And I look back at them and I go to give them a reason. And as I look back at the crew, I noticed some of them walking away. They couldn't agree on a reason as to why this thing needed to stay with me, or they couldn't find a reason. So now they just start dissipating, like they're just walking away from me, like leaving me there to fend for myself. Thanks, guys. And there was all but like 2 or 3 people, which I found very interesting. Anyways, so I look back and then something came to me, look underneath. Always look underneath in a dream. I don't know why, but it always seems like when all else fails for me, if I look underneath the object or something, there's always the answer. I've noticed that pattern. Anyways, I look underneath and I happen to see that this tree that is wrapped in cellophane still is producing magical fruit. The magical fruit kind of looked like a Granny Smith green apples, but they weren't. This was a tree not of earth. It just looked like it was, but it wasn't. But it had it looked like green apples, about this big, but they weren't because they didn't have the stems of an apple. It was just round like an orange, but it was green. Nonetheless, okay, so I look underneath and I see that it is still producing fruit. I get super excited, stand up, look behind me. Now there's nobody there. That was disappointing, but I didn't care because I had a reason. And I told him, it's still producing fruit. And he says, show me the fruit and you can take it with you. The problem with that is that the tree was wrapped in cellophane. And I knew instantly if I unwrapped the cellophane, the tree would perish. It was gone because it couldn't handle the environment it was in. So I had to be able to convince this very tall entity that there was fruit growing on this miniature tree that I couldn't uproot to turn upside down for him to see the fruit. So what happens? And I'll tell you what happens. I'm whisked back to consciousness, so I don't know. Anyways, so what happens from there? I wake up and I go into a meditative state and I get all sorts of lovely writings and readings and all kinds of things and as to messages as to what these dreams may mean. Let's find out what they said about this one because it was interesting. Okay, so they were talking about expectations. How many of us are placing expectations on the fact that at one point in time, we had family and friends and, coworkers that we were able to sit and chill and hang out with and discuss certain things and have a good time. But lately now we're finding ourselves in situations where that's not the case. Lately, we're finding ourselves in situations where it's very difficult or awkward to talk about certain things that we want to talk about with those same very people, coworkers, family, friends. I see the world is going on outside me, so ignore the lovely sirens. We live in the city, so that's a every 5-minute ordeal, it seems like, which is disheartening. But nonetheless, all right, expectations, guys. How many of you guys are finding yourself feeling alone in your beliefs nowadays? Because let's face it, You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Heck, you're not even the same person you were yesterday. But guess what? Some of us don't know that. We don't know that because we are too busy thinking inside the box. We are too busy doing what society needs us to do, staying within the boundaries of conforming to their rules and their beliefs. Heaven forbid you have an opinion outside of the norm. And for that, that's where you start finding yourself starting to become more and more alone, isolated, away from others. Okay? It's called thinking inside the box and thinking outside the box. It's those eccentric people, if you will. So inside the box is a very egocentric box. It is all about the me, 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 I. We live in an ego-based society. That's what this incarnation's about. I want this. I like this. I have to have. That's what this is all about. It's all about those pleasures for you. When you find yourself starting to feel separated from those that you once used to know, when you find yourself in that situation of feeling alone and isolated because you're not thinking or believing what they're believing and thinking anymore, you have now started your awakening. You are now finding that what you once placed out there, what you once projected out there for people in the real world to see, maybe isn't who you are in here. They call that in psychology the shadow self. That shadow self is a projection of what you thought you were, because that's what you were told to believe that you were. We were all raised with certain beliefs and certain ethics and certain morals and certain responsibilities. Some of us think that's just how it is until we die. Well, that shadow self is going to go on and play a part inside that box until the day that we no longer are here or that we expire. How many of us are going to go through this lifetime not ever being aware of the fact that that shadow self has got us? How many of you are going to be able to sit for a moment, take 5 minutes, tune in, and find out that, oh, that shadow self out there, that's not at all who I am? Well, guess what? You start waking up and you start seeing that you're no longer inside that box. You're stepping out and you're seeing that you're different. And there is nothing wrong with that, because as your eyes are opening, there's a little flicker and you realize that there's even more of a group, more of family, friends, coworkers outside this box that are thinking all the same as you, that they started finding out who they were, really, that they were finding out that their shadow selves in that box isn't who they are outside that box. Yeah, that's called an awakening. And that's a good thing. And you know what's even better is that when you step outside that box, you're able to actually see a bigger difference in contrast, because those that are still sleeping, those that are still in the box, those that still have the same belief systems, okay, it provides such a contrast for you that you see the difference, that you know you don't want to go back in there, because you're finding yourself that it's no longer about the materialistic items inside that egotistical mind. It's more about the love, okay? Which is interesting, because once you start feeling that love and that vibration, because it's a whole different vibration, you will notice that you do not want to go back inside that box. And that's very difficult, because when you have to go back inside the box, the matrix, if you will, to move forward maybe with your jobs or whatever, you find that it's so different. It's a bit more difficult, but you're able to put that face on because now you know that face. Let me go ahead and put on this face and I'll go ahead and play their game. Just because I got to go to work, I got to pay my bills. Okay, that's an amazing experience, folks, because just like you can punch out at 5 o'clock, it means you can take off that shadow self of yours and then go home and be who you really are. That's a good thing. So my meditative writings come up with all kinds of great things to say. I'm going to try and just skip to the meat of it, though. Well, it's all really meat. But let's go on to the good stuff, shall we? Okay, so what they say is, and this is fun, they say that people come into our lives in a couple different ways. One of them is some people come into your life for a reason. They are there specifically for a reason that you need them to be. Sometimes they seem like godsends, and they truly are, because they're here to assist you through one difficulty, okay, to provide you with some guidance that you need them in a moment of time that you really do need them. It says people that just come in, you just go, where did you come from? My God, you just helped me out of world, and then suddenly they're gone. You know, through no wrongdoing of your own or anything like that, something happens. Maybe they die, maybe they walk away, or maybe something is said and the relationship just comes to an instant halt. Well, that meant that those people were there for you for a reason. And now it's time to move on. There are people that are in your life for a season. They're there in your lives a little bit longer. And those people that are in your lives for a season, what that means basically is that you're supposed to learn from them. You're supposed to take what they've shown you, and then you take it and you push it forward. You take your lessons and you use them to guide you through your path. And then, like every season, they pass. You know, somehow they're just not there. Whether they walk away, they die, or they instantly just somehow just walk away, you know, their time has come and now it's time for them to move on, you know. And then there's the ones that are there for a lifetime. You know, those ones that are there for a lifetime, they truly see, they are there for you to build upon your foundation. They say that your job is to accept the lesson and the love from that person, and to put forward what you've learned to use in all relationships and areas of your life. They say that love is blind, but friendship is always clairvoyant, which is interesting because those who watch you grow, okay, and are staying with you through the end of this, those people are the ones that you want to hang on to. And if you find yourself not finding anyone that is able to hang on because you've changed, then let them grow, let them go. Because you will find new family, new friends, new relationships in the people that want to grow with you on the same vibration as you. Folks, it's okay to step outside that box. If fear is keeping you from stepping outside because you don't want to be judged or belittled, then folks, if you're not going to take 5 minutes to get to know yourself, then you're just going to forever walk your life in fear. You'll never be able to think outside that box. But I know that we all have the courage to do it, even though it may not be easy. Take 5 minutes a day, sit with yourself, guys. It's really important. If you want to move forward, you got to do it. You deserve it. Till next stream, guys, many blessings to you. Thanks.